Hey everyone, welcome back to Chrissy's Corner. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. If you're an existing subscriber, welcome back. Today we're going to go over some of the case updates that I could find on the cases that we have been following. And we're going to start this off with baby Evelyn. I don't know if you remember Megan Boswell, who was 18, who's now 19, is being charged with baby Evelyn's murder. They reported her missing in February of 2020 and didn't see her for like 2 months. And in March, they found her buried on a family member's property. The next court appearance for her is May 14th. And I really can't find any other things about her besides she's being charged with 2 counts of felony murder and then like 17 other counts. So that's on baby Evelyn. Now let's talk about Logan Kruckenberg Anderson. Logan was a 16-year-old boy, from Wisconsin. Him and his 14-year-old girlfriend had a baby. The mother gave birth at home in a bathtub and named her Harper. That was January the 5th, and they decided that they just could not keep the baby. What they had originally planned was, the first story was he was going to pay a friend of theirs named Tyler to take the baby to a orphanage and drop it off, adoption agency. And then they decided that Logan would just get rid of Harper by dropping her someplace. So Logan was going to drop Harper someplace. So Logan puts Harper into a backpack and takes her to a wooded area, shot her in the head 2 times, and then buried her naked in the snow. After interrogating Logan and a couple of times, he finally confessed to doing it. At first he said that he just buried her alive and covered her in the snow and left her there. And then when they found the baby had been shot twice in the head, he confessed to doing it. There's no charges being filed on the mom yet because they're not sure what she knew, if anything. As far as they know, she only thought he was going to drop her someplace, and she assumed an adoption agency or maybe, the fire department or something. But that was on January the 10th that they found baby Harper, and so she would have been, 5 days old? So yeah, that's horrible. He was only 16 and she was only 14, and this poor baby. Okay, let's move on. Alexis Sharkey. She is the 26-year-old social media influencer. She was found 3 miles from her apartment by a garbage man on November the 28th. She was on the side of the road, naked, and friends have reported that she was saying that she was afraid for her life and that she was having marital problems. Divorce papers were being filed. That's Tom right there in the picture. That's her husband, Tom. They've interviewed him several times. He's also a social media influencer on Instagram and has put some posts out saying that everyone should be ashamed of themselves for thinking he had anything to do with it, that he's cooperating with the police. And, there's no suspects in the case and no charges have been filed. So there is no court date that I can tell you, obviously. So that's the autopsy. I forgot about this part. The autopsy revealed that she was strangled. So it is being ruled a homicide. They just don't have any suspects yet. So that's ongoing. Now moving along to Jacob Blake. Jacob Blake is the 29-year-old man who was shot 7 times in the back by police, also in Wisconsin. He was paralyzed from the waist down. In the videos that are going around YouTube and everywhere else, it shows that the officers were fighting with him and trying to wrestle him to the ground. And at one point, one officer even used a taser on him. And he was still fighting them and going around to the front of his car to go to the driver's side and get in, and apparently had a knife. Now, the officer, when Jacob reached into his car, the officer thought he was maybe getting a weapon, or I don't know what was going through his head. But anyway, they shot him 7 times in the back. They originally got called to the house by the woman who filed charges on him for sexual assault, criminal trespass, and disorderly conduct. The district attorney has ruled that there will be no charges in the case on the officers or Jacob. So that's basically over unless some civil suits come about. Kyle Rittenhouse. He was 17 at the time of his charges and is 18 now. Kyle shot 3 people on August 25th, fatally, 2 of them, and 1 was seriously injured. He is out on a $1 million bond. His conditions of his bond were modified after he was seen in a bar posing for pictures giving the white power sign and things like that, and drinking. Apparently in Wisconsin at 18, as long as you're with a parent, you can drink. I never knew that. Anyway, the conditions were modified to say no contact with any supremacist groups, and no possession of alcohol or firearms. He also pled not guilty and is being charged with first-degree intentional homicide, first-degree reckless homicide, and attempted first-degree intentional and reckless homicide. And his pretrial conference is scheduled for March the 10th. Okay. Lori and Chad Dabo. Where do we start with these two? This has been an ongoing thing here. I know everyone has heard of this case. The LDS members who believed the end of the world was coming and decided to allegedly kill Lori's children, who were found buried in the backyard of Chad's house. Lori is being charged with desertion and non-support of dependent children, resisting or obstructing officers, criminal solicitation to commit a crime, contempt of court, and willful disobedience of court process order. Chad's charges are 2 felony counts of conspiracy to commit destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence, and 2 felony counts of destruction, alteration, and concealment of evidence. So, Prosecutor Rob Wood says he will be filing charges for conspiracy to commit murder on both, but they have not done so yet. Their next court date is March the 22nd. They are going to combine the 2 trials. They had a motion for that. March 22nd, it's a motion to dismiss or change the venue because they don't feel, being in that area, that they're going to get a fair trial because of the LDS community and things like that. So they still have not released the autopsy results for Tylee or JJ. So that's the only update we have there. The George Floyd murder. There was 4 officers involved in the George Floyd case. Derek Chauvin is the first picture you see there. He was the main guy who had his knee on George Floyd's neck. The other ones, Koenig, Lane, and Tao, are all also being charged, but not with the same amounts as Chauvin. Let's see, they're next March the 8th for Chauvin, and Lane, Koenig, and Tao trial is August 23rd. This all happened May 25th of 2020. The autopsy results showed that George Floyd had positive COVID, fentanyl, and methamphetamines in his system, plus cannabis. But the results of his death were cardiopulmonary arrest, in other words, heart failure, He also had heart disease, hypertension, and sickle cell trait. So that's that. Let's go on. Well, there's not much to talk about on that one. California City Boys. These are two little boys, 3-year-old Orson and 4-year-old Orrin Wells. They went missing from their home December the 21st. Their adopted father, West, Trezell had said that the boys were out back playing in the yard with chalk on the patio, and he was gathering firewood and left the gate open. And when he went back to the backyard, he noticed they were gone. Went into the house to ask his wife, who was busy wrapping gifts, if she had seen them. She said no, so he left and went scouring the neighborhood in his van to try and locate them. After he got done doing that, he called 911. California City Police Chief Walker states that the dogs picked up no scents for the boys. In other words, that they couldn't pick up on anything at this house for these two boys. There's been video surveillance from the neighbor of I believe it was the morning of this incident, where they were supposed to be going shopping in Bakersfield, and you can see 4 children loading into the van, not 6. They have Orrin and Orson, which are 2 adopted sons. They have 2 biological sons and then 2 foster kids. So the neighbor only saw 4 getting in the van. Other neighbors have stated that they have never seen these kids since they moved in, which was September. So far, there's been no other leads. Nothing else has come of it. The police won't disclose any specific dates or what items that they took from the house during their search. Parents were being interviewed several times. They do have a person of interest, but they won't reveal who it is. And obviously there's no charges yet. They still have not found these children. The community have been coming together and organizing search parties, looking in the desert and other places around the neighborhoods and at their previous residence, talking to neighbors there and trying to search for the boys, and nothing yet. So everyone keep your fingers crossed and prayers that they get found. But it's been a month, so, I mean, I hate to say it, but that's probably not likely. But, you know, stranger things have happened, so let's just keep your prayers out and see if we can get these boys back. Moving on to Sophie Long. There's really not much to say about this one. They've really been avoiding social media. Nobody's really heard from them or seen them that they're saying. The last that I heard, they're still waiting on the SANE test from the hospital, which is the sexual assault test. Sophie is, I guess, still with Michael and thriving, and their next hearing isn't until June. So not much to say on that one. Julia Tomlin. This is the baby Noah case, who was 2 years old. He was reported missing in June of 2019, found after 10 days at a steam plant in Hampton, Virginia. Tomlin originally says that Noah hit his head and drowned in the tub, but the cause of death, according to the autopsy, was blunt force trauma and battered child syndrome. The trial date for this one, and she's being charged with second-degree murder, felony, and felony child neglect. This trial date is April the 12th. That was a really horrific case, this one. Okay. Mollybbetts. Mollybbetts was a 20-year-old university student who was home on break and decided to go for a jog one summer morning, July 18th, 2018. She had come up missing and was not found until August 21st in a cornfield. They finally arrested Bahira Bahena Rivera, who was a farmhand, and he confessed to the abduction and murder. He's charged with first degree murder. The trial has I can't talk tonight. The trial has been delayed 3 times since the original date in April of 2019. Mostly because there's been questions raised as to whether Rivera's rights were violated during the investigation, or whether his conversation with law enforcement should be used in court since English is not his first language. The last date had been postponed due to the COVID pandemic. So the new trial now is May 17th with a pre-trial of April the 15th. And that's all we have. I don't have any other news about anything so far. When I do hear anything, I will definitely let you guys know, but I wanted to just touch base and let you hear some of the dates that are coming up this year. This should be a pretty good year, specifically for the Lori and Chad Daybell one. That one I can't wait for. That one should be televised. I'm not sure about all the other ones, but if they are, we'll definitely stream them and let you guys watch. So until then, have a great evening, and we'll talk soon. Bye.